Hey guys, it's Melissa. Happy Wednesday. Today we are going to talk about a trick that I like to use when I am doing a multicolor HTV design. So what typically happens when you have a multicolor HTV design is, number one, you end up wasting some vinyl, and number two, you end up with, how do I place this all together once I have all these pieces cut? So today I have a little trick. It's going to save you both time and stress on aligning and everything like that, okay? So the design that I'm using is this Mommy's Lucky Charm. We are actually, instead of doing black, gold, and two different color greens, I've just decided that we're going to make it a 3-color design. So the 2-color, it's okay. It doesn't really matter. So that's another thing you need to know, that just because a design comes into Silhouette Studio colored a certain way, don't feel like you have to cut on those colors, okay? That's just kind of the recommendation from the designer. This design is part of the mega bundle of mini bundles from Fontsy. It is all 13 of the $5 bundles today, all combined into one for $19.99. So it's 13 $5 bundles for $19.99. If you want to grab it, it's today only. But this is one of the designs in there, so we're going to cut it. So here's the trick. And I have included a link up top for the written tutorials as well, because if you are like, how'd you get to this point? So I brought the design in, I sized it to what I wanted to do, okay? So this is the size that I want the design to be on my shirt. Now, before I cut it, I actually print it on paper, plain paper, on my home printing computer, home printer, okay? Not printing computer. So this is what I have. Now this is super important. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use this to help me align the design afterwards, okay? So what we have now is, once I have this printed out, I'm then going to cut the different pieces. I already cut the sunglasses so that I could demo this to you, but I cut it on black, and it's the exact same size as the print, okay? So we're gonna use this and this. I need to finish cutting the rest. Now, the other thing that you're gonna notice on my computer is that there's a gold color here and a gold color down here. If I cut the design that way, what's going to end up happening is I need to cut a piece, I would need a piece of HTV that's this big, because I'm gonna do gold for Mommy's and gold for Charm. However, then I end up wasting the part that's in the middle because I'm gonna cut that out of a different color. What this printed sheet allows me to do is to format the design, and I can put all the pieces that are the same color, I can scrunch them all together, okay? And so what happens is they cut all misaligned, but then we're gonna use the paper to realign. Okay, watch, because I know it's like, what are you talking about, okay? All right, I haven't cut the gold or the green yet because I wanted you to see how this goes. So I'm gonna bring you up here so you can see. And let me move this all out of the way. Okay, so we're gonna cut the gold first. Okay, so I've got, it's obviously backwards, I've got Mommy's and Charm. They don't go this way in the design, but we are going to realign them after they cut. Now you'll see that I actually put a cutting box around them. You'll see why I did that in a second. So I'm gonna send this to cut. Once that cuts, then we'll send the green through. And I am cutting without a cutting mat, just because I prefer to cut that way. It's faster. I don't have to worry about getting the mat all over the place. Okay, so when this is done, we'll cut the green one. And in the meantime, we can prepare our shirt. Now, I have already, no matter how much room I have, I don't have enough room. I have already flattened out my shirt, so I know I got all the wrinkles out, okay? And now what I'm gonna do is I have the center line. If you don't have a center line, you can fold your shirt in half and then do a quick press to get a center crease. So we'll do that while we're waiting. Okay, so this will help. Can you see what I'm doing? I just folded it real quick. This just gives me a center so I know, where to place my design in the center. Just quickly. Okay, so I now have a center and I can use that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my paper and I'm going to slide it into my shirt. Now this works obviously on a light colored shirt, okay? Okay, so now I'm going to use that center line to line up my design. Okay. See, my shirt, the paper is in the shirt. Once I can move the cameo out of the way, we'll be able to show you this a little bit easier. I'm going to make sure that my paper is straight. Are you able to see? I need to make sure that my paper in here is straight so that my design is straight, okay? Okay? And you can tape it if you want. You can use a piece of high temperature tape and just tape your paper so that it doesn't move around, which I'll just do that real quick while it's cutting. Okay? And we're going to use that paper inside our shirt to help us position all the different pieces of the design. So let's, oh no! Okay, well, let's see. Hopefully. All right, let's see if that worked. Hold on. Okay, so let's tape this. All right. So my paper is taped in there. See? Okay. My HTV has cut. It'll be okay. And then we're going to go back to this, and I need to switch it so that it cuts my green piece. Okay. So now I need, can you still see what I'm doing? I need Lucky, the line, and the shamrocks. I'm gonna flip them so that they cut. And because this is a smaller piece of HTV, I need to move my roller. So I'm gonna move my roller over, okay? Make sure everything still fits on there. And I will send that in there like that. And try this with just one pass and see. I need to plug my computer in. All this stuff is, oh my goodness. Okay. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so now we'll cut the green HTV. Send that to cut. Okay. So we have our gold, we have the black, and now we're going to have the green. So I'm just going to start weeding this while we're waiting. Okay, so the reason that I put the block around it was so that it would be easier to weed. This is a weeding box, okay? Just breaks up the design, the negative space of the design for me. You could use weeding lines if you'd rather, but weeding boxes are just fast and easy, especially if you have something that's not too big. Because now one thing, and there's a lot of new users right now, and one thing that I would tell you guys is that HTV is super forgiving. So if you are a new user, my recommendation is to start with HTV. What you can't see on here is that where my design messed up at the very end, the blade cut through. You won't be able to see it probably, but the blade sliced through right here. However, you're not even going to be able to see that this is cut because when I apply this to my shirt, it's just going to melt right together. Okay, so that's something that's super easy. Now, the other thing, I just want to make sure that this cut correctly, and it did. I get asked a lot, why are you weeding out a small piece while the design is still on here? The reason I'm doing this is to make sure that it has cut correctly. If this did not weed easily, I can now just tell my machine to send it again, and it will cut again in the exact same spot. If I take this out and then realize it hasn't weeded correctly, I'm not going to be able to place it back in the exact same area. So that's why I'm doing that, okay? All right, now let me move some of this stuff out of the way so we have a little bit more room to work here. Okay, so let's finish weeding this. You see what I'm doing here? Okay, so what you're going to see when I get done weeding this is that I have 2 different pieces of my design, actually 3. I have the charm, I have the line, and I have Mommy's. And this is not how this design is set up. I did this so that I could cut these in the smallest amount of HTV possible. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to separate them. And the reason that I'm able to separate them is because I have this piece of paper inside my shirt, which is going to tell me where I need to position them before I press. Okay, so everything needs to move out of my way. Okay, so now we have our shirt, right? You can see through the shirt, so I know that my black glasses go right here, okay? And I know that charm goes right here. Okay, so I'm going to cut this apart. Okay. It's going to show me exactly where the line actually is not. I'm going to separate the line too because I didn't place that. I just, moved that separately. So let's get this right in position. Hopefully you're able to see what I'm doing. I think you can. Okay, so this goes right here. Okay, now the line, I have 2 different lines here. I'm just going to do this one right here. Okay, now the key here is you want to make sure that while you can do multiple colors at the same time, you don't want them overlapping. So I'm not going to put down Mommy's yet because part of that looks like it might go over the glasses, and then we'd have the transfer part stuck underneath. Okay, so while we're waiting, before we do that, I'm going to weed out this green piece so you can see what I'm doing here. I didn't put a weeding box around this one, so I'll just cut closely. Do we have, oh, okay, yeah. Okay, so I have the shamrocks, and I have, let's see exactly where, okay. Okay, and save all your scraps there. You can use those later for, you can line them up on your mat. Another little trick that you can do if you want, just be careful, is to weed up here on your warmed up heat press. That radiant heat from the press will loosen the adhesive, and see how easy it's peeling off? Maybe you can't see that. It will just he'll just give it enough heat that you can easily, you just got to be really careful that you don't burn yourself. It just loosens it enough that it's very, very easy, and see how fast it's peeling? I'm not struggling with it at all. Okay? All right, so now I have this whole piece, and I'm gonna cut that apart. And if I cut close enough to Lucky, I might be able to put it on my shirt at the same time. Let's see. You just wanna make sure that you're not getting anything stuck underneath there. Okay, all right, so. Yeah, okay, so we've got these 3 pieces. I'm gonna put the rest of them, after I do this first set, I'm gonna put the rest on there. Where did I put my pressing pillow is gonna go up here, all right? Okay, and I've got my whole design right here. Okay, you just wanna make sure that they all stick right on there. Everything's still all aligned. And I can take my Teflon sheet and press. Now, I'm only gonna press this for about 7 seconds because I have to repress it again, and I just wanna tack it down so that I don't overpress. Okay, so before I pull it off of here, I'll just make sure. And my pieces are sticking just fine. So we'll do that. Okay. Okay, so you can't even, oh, you got me, sorry. You can't even see, but this is the C where it was cut through by accident. Okay, now I'm gonna make sure that my paper is still in the same position. Okay, I'll just realign my paper right under the HTV that I have. Okay, and now I can add the remaining pieces of my design. So in this case, it would be this mommy's. I can line that up with what's under there. Let's see. Okay, I've got another green line, and I've got these two, that I can't see, but whatever. And then I have another line right down here that I'm just going to apply right to the line that I can see through. Okay, and now I will repress this. This time I'm going to do it for the full 20 seconds. So we will press this for the full 20 seconds. We definitely need to cover with a Teflon sheet the second time because we have exposed HTV. Okay, and we'll press that. Ooh, it's at an angle that's difficult for me to get leverage on. So when this is done, it will be completely done, and then you can take that paper out. So this is a really good way that you can, again, not only save vinyl because you can pull the designs, you know, separate the design, disassemble the design so that you're cutting in the smallest amount of area, but also it will allow you to reline this up without, you know, having to break out your measuring tape and everything like that. Now, this is going to create some lines. I'll show you in just a second. Because I had a piece of HTV through the glasses, it's going to create, you might get like, you know, where you get that the press mark. If you repress the entire shirt, you will be able to get rid of those marks, okay? So if I just want to press this one more time just quickly, real fast, tack it on there, I mean not tack it, but just essentially real fast, it'll press out any pressing marks, okay? All right, so the point is, and now you can actually save this. If you were gonna do this again, you can just save that. The point here is that you don't need to be afraid of multicolored designs, okay? This works best on light color shirts, all right? And if you're looking for this design, like I said, it's part of the mega $5 bundle. So it's all 13 $5 bundles from Fontsy, which math is not my strong suit, but whatever 13 times 5 is, you now can get it today only for $19.99. So you're saving a lot if you want a whole bunch of cool designs like this. There's a bunch of holiday ones in there, all kinds of cool stuff. So check it out, the link's up top. And if you're wondering how I got to print this out and all this step by step, I included a tutorial link, written tutorial link up top as well, so you can follow on the steps, because I know sometimes with the videos you're like, but how did you get to this point? And Bob says I talk super fast and super loud, and I tried. So anyway, you guys, all right, well, I hope that you have a fabulous day. Take some of these tips. Hopefully you found something in there useful and use it on your next project, and we'll see you soon.